Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at the worst things about Resident Evil games. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we'll be looking at elements from any games in the series that are annoying or flawed. Let us know in the comment section below what frustrates you the most. Weird puzzle placement, Resident Evil 2. Okay, we understand puzzles being part of the series. They're stimulating, challenging, and rewarding. They worked well in the first game, given that the mansion was home to a maniac and situated above a secret lab, but why are they in a modern police station? Even if the building was converted from a museum, why would the cops just leave all that cryptic stuff in? Pushing statues around to open a locked door? How's a sergeant not getting frustrated at that? It was probably tricky to come up with an excuse for having these puzzles in the station, so we'll just go along with the converted museum thing for now. Not enough time spent in the city, Resident Evil 3. One of the highlights of the original Resident Evil 3 was that we got to see how the virus affected Raccoon City. We got to explore the streets, alleyways, and shops of the city, giving the game a much more open feel. The remake, however, really only gave us 2 short streets before we moved along. We weren't asking for a fully open world experience here, but enough of a playground to at least explore more of the city. As standard with Resident Evil, there is some backtracking involved so that we can at least walk those streets a couple of times.
It's like our play on steroids.
Backtracking.
I'll check it out.
Roger.
Some of the games handled it really well. The power of the first PlayStation was quite limited, so we didn't mind exploring the same few hallways over and over again. Other games implemented it not so well, namely Resident Evil 0. We understand the gameplay implications of not having an item box, but we don't appreciate backtracking to a place at the start of the game to pick up an item we thought we no longer needed. Seriously, the game could have been half the length and twice as enjoyable. Clunky Aiming. While the controls for aiming your weapon have improved significantly, it's still a far cry from being great. We don't know why our STARS team members could only aim directly in front of them, at their feet, or at the sky, and we don't understand why they were later able to aim anywhere, only to then forget how to walk while aiming. This made boss fights incredibly awkward and frustrating. It did add some tension to the game and made you strategize a bit more, but it felt unnatural. Thankfully, the later games rectify this while still managing to be tense and scary at the same time. Barely any puzzle solving, Resident Evil 3. Pick up one item, drop it somewhere else. Easy. Connect the dots. Easy. That's pretty much all of it. We get that Resident Evil 3 was always more action-oriented than the others, but the puzzles in the remake are just insulting. Puzzles are one of the main reasons a lot of people love the games. So with all the other cut content from the remake, not having enough puzzles in it to solve really soured the experience for many. Those who enjoy the game can still admit there are many shortcomings, especially compared to its predecessor. Characters aren't as fleshed out. Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Oh, thank God I found you. It's me, it's Ethan.
Ethan? Ethan?
Are you alright?
Jill is a badass no-nonsense cop. Ethan is a man looking for his wife. They're also... that's all they are. With Ethan, it's not so bad because we can imprint our personality onto him, especially as it's first person, but they dropped the ball with Jill. The animations and voice acting are top-notch. If only the characters had a bit more depth to them. Good horror makes us care about our characters, and we feel scared when they feel scared. But most of the time, these characters seem quite alright with the situation.
He was infected.
He might have been infected.
Oh, stars, this soft. No wonder so many of you dead.
And what are you, UBCS, killing your own people?
Plot holes. We know we're nitpicking here, but it is fun to discuss. There are many inconsistencies within the Resident Evil universe that will only haunt you if you stop long enough to think about them. Like, for example, if you count how many times Leon or Claire have been bit in the neck without turning, or how a man turns into a giant dinosaur zombie. Where does all that skin and muscle come from? Why does no one in the Baker residence call for help? Why is Zoe calling Ethan when she can call the police?
I gotta get back to work. I love you, Ethan. I miss you so much. I'm sending tons of kisses.
Tank controls. We may have gotten used to them at the time, but there's no way we're going back to them now. Seriously, if Chris or Jill didn't move like robots, maybe they would have avoided being shredded to bits by a hunter. Maybe the game would have been too easy without tank controls because the people you controlled would have acted like actual humans. It was just as frustrating when Capcom made the jump to the over-the-shoulder perspective and still retained that control scheme. Come on, Leon, can you please just, walk sideways? Fixed camera angles.
Watch out! It's a monster!
Let me take care of this.
Maybe we're too accustomed to the luxuries of controlling a game camera, but fixed camera angles back in the day were a pain. The character faces a long hallway, yet we're looking at the wall behind her until she moves forward. Then we see a dozen zombies we could have avoided. This, along with tank controls, did have their charm and aided in the game's difficulty, but they were just unconventional. While Code Veronica still had fixed angles, the camera did move at times with the character, which was definitely a step in the right direction. Inconsistent sequels.
No, Leon, seriously, they're getting through the fence. Please, just go.
We're gonna make it.
Survival horror, action, then back to survival horror, then back to action horror. Now it's back to straight up action with the Resident Evil 3 remake, and who knows what Village will be. We just hope it will at least be scary, unlike 3's remake. Let's also not forget about the perspectives. Fixed camera angles to over the shoulder to first person, now back to over the shoulder. Sheesh, can Capcom just make up their mind? Each genre and perspective now have their own dedicated fan bases. Being a Resident Evil fan isn't meant to be this complicated.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.